You cannot be in Abuja and decide for them. So, in my opinion, a decentralized federal system it might likely bring down these notions of secession or marginalization or whatsoever. And it all boils down to resource control.
The forceful amalgamation of Nigeria by the British is an issue we need to look into. But the problem arising right now by some people saying, oh, they want their, it has nothing to do with that. It's something being run by some selfish people. They are selling passports. They are trying to make money. They are waiting for maybe the president to call them and say, what do you really want? You know, it's those kind of people. It has nothing to do with the real problems. There are problems with Europeans coming and putting Africans, you know, into a map together, but it has nothing to do with the agitations we are having right now. So I think we as Africans, we have the right to look at the way Europe divided us or put us together and now say, okay, how do we separate ourselves, or how do we even come together? Why people are not even talking about, okay, why don't Niger Republic and Nigeria merge together? People are not even talking about that. All we say is, oh, let's separate this, let's separate that.
We as Nigerians cannot blame anybody, the Westerners or wherever, for whatever problem that's happening in Nigeria today. We cannot blame it on the amalgamation. We cannot blame it on what the West has done. Nigeria is what it is today because of what Nigerians have done to Nigeria. In that respect, then about this system of government, rotational government, see, every part of Nigeria has been marginalized by the political elite, whether from the north, the south, the east, or the west. There's no part of Nigeria you can go to today and say, oh, you can see a very, very sound government or development in that area. That's not the case. For instance, look at people agitating for Biafra. Go to Abia State. Look at what Theodore Oji there has done in the past 8 years. He has almost, Abia State in the last 8 years is almost like the worst governed state in Nigeria. Now, what gives the benefit, or what gives the conviction that if you get Biafra, that Abia State definitely will be changed and it will be governed nice? Theodore Oji is an Abian person. And look at what he did to say. So it's not about the person or the system of government we run in Nigeria. We just need to get things right.
Seceded from the current Nigerian map and become Biafra. So that's why they don't have this map, or they don't understand, because they don't have the interest of the people they are doing. These people who are fighting for it have an ulterior motive, and this is what the government needs to check. And talking about marginalization, all 6 geopolitical zones have actually produced people at the top. That is what I said in the earlier statement. If everybody says that we have been marginalized, then who are the people that actually have been running the government? Because you don't need to be a president to become a leader of your region. You don't need to be a state governor to become a leader, a political leader in your group. You don't need to be a minister. There are people who have other appointments, people who do other things that actually, if they are really interested in developing their regions, they will do that. That is the reason we have 774 or 76 local government areas. This is the reason we have more states, because you have to start from the grassroots. If the local government cannot function to identify the problems of the next community, the state governor will not know, because the state governor does not hear it from the councillor, does not hear it from the chairman of the local government. So if these problems are not addressed from the grassroots, you cannot expect the federal government to be able to come and in your village and make it the best road the world has ever produced, because they don't know. You have to be able to identify and address your issues. And if the people don't care and are only fighting for contracts and allocations that they will actually pocket and buy the latest Range Rover van, then you do not expect any development. So this is the problem.
So the first channel, first of all, you clamor and try to mobilize people for a referendum. You don't mobilize jobless people on the street, again, socio-economic factor. You don't mobilize jobless people on the street and pay them peanuts to come and protest. You and I know how these people are brought about to come and make this protest. So the least we need now is disruption of peace and stability of Nigeria as a nation state, and whichever group, irrespective of which region it comes from, which is a threat to the state, I support any legitimate use of force to suppress this group. The government has the right and the legitimacy to adopt any means necessary to stabilize these people.
Gordie mentioned the map that these separatists are peddling around. They took a map and they didn't even talk to the people, some of the people in these regions. They just drew a map and, said, this is part of the movement, this is part of the movement. If you really have a genuine cause, the first thing you start with, because I'm doing such a thing right now, you write a proposal to the people around, the people you feel have interest in this thing you are trying to do. You write a proposal, make it beautiful, give a graphic artist, and they make it nice, and you send it out to people and say, look at what I want and why this thing is beneficial. You have benefits of the proposal, you have how you will carry out the methods and techniques for its success. You understand? When you put out this kind of proposal, people will now say, oh, I like this thing. You understand? Like if you go to the Senate, if you send your senators to the Senate, their votes alone cannot get you what you want. So there's a proposal they will lobby to other senators. They will lobby to a senator representing Kebbi and say, see, this is why my people need to go to their own country. It will be of benefit to you. It will be of benefit to us. We can still interact and trade and move around even as separate countries. You understand? So put a proposal together. Call your senators, call your representatives, tell them to go to the Senate, go and move this motion. And, if it's successful, you have your free country. If not, we continue as we are. You have your referendum. If your people have to decide first, okay, do we even want this thing? Because I've talked to a lot of people from that region, and most of them are like, what in God's name is happening? You understand? So you even first have to decide if the people in that region really want to go with you.
All right, guys, thank you for coming this afternoon on the program and sharing your thoughts, but that's how we have to leave it. And we'll take a quick break, and we'll be joined by an activist as well as an actor, Bobby Obodo. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Now we shift our attention back to the studio, and we're being joined by Bobby Michael Obodo. He's an actor as well as an activist. Bobby, thanks for coming on the program.
Thanks for having me, Victor.
Well, let me just begin. I mean, you organized the Occupy Nigeria protest in Canada. You also spoke at the Youth for Change program. That's the One Nigeria Change, One Nigeria program organized by Youth for Change. But then, before your very eyes, and also the organizers of that program, we're having pockets of disagreements with how the federal government is running the affairs of the country. First and foremost, we have the Boko Haram issue in the northeast, we have Niger Delta militancy, and most recently, the protests going on in the southeast, now talking about the pro-Biafran protests. What do you make of all these pockets of disagreements by Nigerians now to the Nigerian government?
First of all, I'd like to say, for any group, however small they are, that feels disenfranchised or alienated, every government needs to listen to them. Any government needs to have a level of dialogue with them, because it starts off small and then it becomes really huge and almost out of control. Let's look at Boko Haram, for example. Early 2000s, when Boko Haram came, it was considered a relatively peaceful organization. And then they started their protest, I think, in 2009, and then they later got killed. And then look at the consequence of that. Years of war, thousands of people die every day in Nigeria. Look at the Niger Delta militancy. It started off as a protest. And I think, again, people got killed. Look at that resulted in the OD massacre of 1999. And ever since, it's just been spiraling out of control. And now, this is the Biafran issue now that is rising, right? And if you follow this group, you'd see that they're a formidable group.